my biggest takeaway after watching the teaser trailer for the short animated film Batman Death in the Family is why does Warner Brothers keep testing the morality and the humanity of its Batman audience by trying to continually give us the opportunity to kill this boy. This intro doesn't have any witty banter or a joke. I'm literally confused. Welcome back, Gothamites. If you're new here, hi. I'm London, aka History of the Batman. Who knew that today was going to be an awesome day to learn about new Batman animated film content? I didn't. This morning, Warner Brothers Animation released the first teaser trailer for the newest DC Comics animated short film, which is called Batman Death in the Family. This isn't a new surprise that this film is being made because sometime last year, DC officially announced that they are doing 5 DC short animated films that are becoming an anthology series that will all be released sometime this year. And we learned from the press release and the teaser today that all 5 of those short animated films, including Death in the Family, will all be put in a nice Blu-ray digital package that you can purchase in the fall of this year. So probably in a few months, which that's really exciting because I have been waiting for something to come out about Death in the Family. That is such an iconic Batman story that really hasn't been 100% fully visualized, except for the 2010 animated film by Brandon Vietti and written by Judd Winnick called Batman Under the Red Hood. Yesterday, July 27th, marked the 10-year anniversary of the release of Under the Red Hood, which actually shows scenes that were inspired and adapted from Death in the Family. And then we go into Judd Winnick's Under the Hood storyline, and we also take more of Winnick's story talking about Jason's resurrection in Batman Annual number 25. So is it a coincidence that they released this teaser trailer just a day after the 10-year anniversary of this film that is literally using the same animation and scenes and footage for the beginning storyline in this short film? It probably is a coincidence, but because I'm me, I'm just going to say that is not a coincidence. And this was all a plot to get us hyped for this movie. For this video, I really wanted to talk about the teaser trailer, a little bit of history around the whole lore of Jason Todd's Robin either dying or living, courtesy of us fans, and ultimately why this new shift in direction of how fans can interact with this short film is probably going to pave the way for other amazing content coming in the future from DC and Warner Brothers. Oh, and of course, answering the question, why do people like to kill off Jason Todd if they say they like him so much? Question I've had for years. But before we talk about murdering a young child, that's literally what this is about. Why don't you subscribe to this channel and become part of this wonderful Gothamite community? Very quick background on A Death in the Family. I have spent several videos on this channel literally talking about Death in the Family, the voting poll to kill Jason Todd, all of that. As you may or may not know, in 1988 and 1989, writer Jim Starlin penned a 4-issue arc titled Batman Death in the Family. And it was originally published in Batman issues 426 to 429. The story is now remembered for the tragic I've talked about this story so much on all platforms at some point in my time doing History of the Batman, and it still gets me every time about what they did to this character simply because they either didn't like him or you just could do this to a character, and we'll talk about that in a second. The climax of this story is evidently the Joker kidnapping both Jason Todd, who is the current second Robin the Boy Wonder to Bruce Wayne's Batman. He not only beats him to a bloody pulp with a crowbar, but in the warehouse where he beat him to a bloody pulp, he lined it with explosives and locked him in there. Now, the end of this issue shows the time ticking down. It shows Batman rushing to the warehouse to try to save Robin once he learns what the Joker has done. And then there's just a big, colorful kaboom is probably better, explosion. And Batman's sitting there like, oh God, oh no. And then it's like, that's it for that issue. You guys were able to decide whether or not Jason Todd survived the blast with this ad that was at the end of this comic. And you were given two 1-900 numbers. If you called one, you voted for Jason Todd to live. If you called another, you voted Jason Todd to die. While this voting poll wasn't 100% new or original when this book came out in the late 80s, this was major because A, you're talking about a major character within the Batman family, and people were just fine with killing off this Robin because they did not like the attitude and rebellious nature that he had, not only within himself, but also how he acted towards Batman. And people thought he was almost disrespectful to his mentor, father figure. And we're definitely comparing Jason Todd's attitude to Dick Grayson, who had been Robin since 1940 and only in the early 80s switched from the Robin mantle to his newer persona, Nightwing. Even I've talked about this with Jim Starlin in person on a panel and also in other videos on his channel, that he didn't even like the Robin character. He thought he was a liability practically when he's running around Gotham City with the Dark Knight. He really, really wanted Jason Todd's Robin to die, and that is funny to me as well. Thousands of votes were tallied. It was only a difference of 70 or 71 votes. And Jason Todd died. In the next issue, you see this iconic panel of Batman discovering Jason's body, and he did not survive. Unlike other DC comic book characters, not just even Batman, Jason Todd stayed dead for almost 15 years. He came back in comics in hallucinations and flashbacks, and more so being a catalyst to Batman's guilt that he already harbored ever since his parents died all those years ago. Jason Todd randomly, and it was really random at the time, came back within Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's Batman Hush, but Judd Winnick decided, oh, they've opened the door to bring back Jason Todd to the continuity, so I'm gonna bring him back and I'm gonna give a story that makes sense. If you haven't read Judd Winnick's Under the Hood, I definitely recommend it. It's all in a trade. It's amazing, but it is the story that brings back Jason Todd into the Batman mainstream continuity as the new Red Hood, because maybe as you know or don't know, the Joker was the original Red Hood, and that origin story for the Clown Prince of Crime was originally debuted in Bill Finger's story, The Man Behind the Red Hood, in Detective Comics issue 168 in 1951. And then of course you get the more updated and now more well-known origin story for the Joker in Alan Moore's Batman the Killing Joke. This is my shirt if you're interested. I'm literally wearing a Killing Joke shirt, and it is just straight bananas. It's one of my favorites. The shirt was given to me courtesy of Hot Topic, so once again, thank you for Hot Topic for always filling up my closet with dope Batman shirts. Once Jason Todd came back into Batman's life as a new Red Hood, literally giving Batman a heart attack and having an actual existential crisis, trying to figure out how Jason Todd came back from the dead. And then you learn more about this supernatural resurrection in Judd Winnick's story, The Return of Jason Todd and Batman Annual 25, where we learn about Superboy Prime hitting the walls of reality from Infinite Crisis, and it literally brought Jason Todd back to life. Talia al Ghul finds him, retrains him, learning who he is and not telling Bruce because she's a bad person. And then they literally resurrect him by putting him in the Lazarus pit, courtesy of Ra's al Ghul. And once Jason Todd learns that Batman did not take out the Joker after he killed him, his heart is just filled with vengeance and rage and just wants to get back at the Batman and also kill Joker because, I mean, I feel that. If someone beat me with a crowbar and then blew me up and then somehow I came back to life, that is the first person on my hit list, I would guess. Especially if I am a vigilante running around here in a biker jacket and a red helmet and a gun. Like, that's probably where I'm going. All of that to say, Jason Todd's comeback story is literally one of the most fascinating within all of Batman's history. Even if I am not a huge fan of the Red Hood character for Jason Todd, it doesn't mean that all of this wasn't brilliantly written and putting him back into the mythos wasn't wonderfully crafted. I 100% give that to Judd Winnick. I tell him that on Twitter all the time. I am also supportive of any media that does explore Jason Todd's return to the Batman mythos, which is why I am a fan of the 2010 film Batman Under the Red Hood, because before that movie, in 2010, you didn't talk about Jason Todd because that storyline is so dark. It's so dark, which is why I'm so excited that this film, this Death in the Family short film, is rated R. They knew that they had to do it because there was no way you could do this story well without making it rated R. The fact that now, in 2020, we are getting a movie dedicated to that storyline, and from even the teaser trailer, I think we will see it in all of its glory and more. I am very excited about that, especially since Batman fans are big stands over Jason Todd. In 1988, going into 1989, fans were able to vote whether or not Jason Todd lived or died. This isn't the last time that fans were given this opportunity. The DC Universe, or I don't know what's happening with DC Universe, but the DC Universe original show Titans, which of course falls to Teen Titans, had Jason Todd's Robin in it. And in season 2 of just last year, 2019, fans were given the opportunity to decide whether or not Jason Todd lived or died from a fall. Sure, Jason Todd did survive, but do you know the margin? Like literally the margin, it was almost in half. Still, they want to kill Jason Todd's Robin. Luckily, he survived. And sure, maybe in the future of Titans, we will be seeing Jason Todd as the Red Hood because he stayed alive. But the fact that, once again, when Warner Brothers gave audience the opportunity to decide the fate of a very iconic character within the Batman mythos, people are just so down to kill this boy. Still, after like what? Like 30 years? Now let's talk about the new adaptation of Batman Death in the Family, which I am so excited about. Not just your typical taking Jim Starlin and Judd Winnick's stories and putting them into a short film. For the very first time, DC is giving fans a chance to interact with the storyline within the film. It is very reminiscent of Netflix's season of Black Mirror, where people were able to decide what happens. And it's also very reminiscent of the layout in the Batman Telltale video game series, where you can decide what Bruce says or does or his actions, and you move along the storyline. It's unique to literally everybody that plays, which is the same concept for watching this movie, which I think is so cool. Not only are they keeping it within the continuity of 2010's Batman Under the Red Hood with the same voice actors, from Bruce Greenwood voicing Batman once again to even the Joker being voiced by John DiMaggio, but you not only get to decide now if Jason Todd survived the blast in the warehouse when Batman is riding on his motorcycle and jumping off to try to save him, then he finds his body in the 2010 movie. You can decide whether or not Jason Todd doesn't survive the blast, whether he does survive the blast, or if Batman is able to save him. I like that that is a very distinct third choice, because I'm sure that'll play into however the plot follows if you choose that. You not only get to choose if he lives or dies, but you literally get to choose the moments in Jason Todd's life. You get to decide how he's functioning within this Gotham City. Another thing that's so cool that you do see in the trailer is that if Jason Todd, I would assume, does live, let's say you're nice, and you say, no, Batman either saves him or he survives, Jason Todd could possibly be Red Robin, which that's so dope. Now, the Red Robin mantle was originally taken up in full by Tim Drake in the comic after the events of Final Crisis and Batman Battle for the Cowl, after Bruce Wayne apparently died, and then Dick Grayson became the new Batman, and Tim Drake, instead of being Robin, becomes Red Robin. In comics, we actually have seen Jason Todd wear the Red Robin costume, so it's not 100% brand new, but that's still very cool that you can rewrite Jason Todd's history within this interactive short film. Honestly, I want to see more of that in future Batman animated film. Like, wouldn't it be cool if I finally get my Batman Nightfall animated film that I've been wanting since God was a boy? What if Bruce decides, I'm not going to give it to John Paul Valley and then he becomes Azrael Batman, but what if he gives it to Dick Grayson and then we can see Dick Grayson as Batman in this? What if we can look at iconic Batman stories in the same way and fans can interact and play out some of our favorite Batman stories? I think that could be a really cool thing to do in the future for more films. Here we are for a third time. Warner Brothers and DC has given fans the opportunity to decide whether or not Jason Todd lives or dies. For this particular film, I understand why them doing this voting and this interaction for audiences with the film is a thing, because of course it's paying homage to the 1-900 voting poll originally in Jim Starlin's original publication. I 100% understand the connection. I totally do. It's a very good year to actually do Death in the Family and to be able to explore Jason Todd as Robin and either Red Robin or Red Hood, because it's Robin's 8th anniversary and that's just a cool way to commemorate such a very dynamic mantle that has been around for 8 decades. And even though I understand all of that, I do. And I can even understand why people think that you have to kill Jason Todd in order for him to be the Red Hood. Jason Todd's storyline in comics, that's what happened. He took up the Red Hood persona because that is the persona that Joker, the man that actually killed him, had, and it's a really weird psychological twisted way of using that mantle for your own. I do. It's all poetic. It's all lovely. And I know now people see that Jason Todd just has to be Red Hood because that's just the mantle that fits him. Similar to people just seeing that Dick Grayson has to be Nightwing because that's the mantle that fits him so well. 100% get it. I really do. However, if you wanted to keep Jason Todd alive and maybe not kill like a young boy that's like Bruce's basically son and he's raising him, it's literally killing Bruce's child. And every single time people are down to kill this boy, and he's literally a boy. And I say boy because he's not a man yet. He's young. He's what, 11, 12, 13 at the most? Like, he's little. He's young. And yet here we are wanting Joker to take this boy's life. Here we are wanting him to suffer when you don't have to. What if in one of the two choices, Batman either saves his life or he doesn't die from the explosion and the beating? What if he's just so messed up by the experience of almost dying by the hands of Joker, he still ends up being Red Hood anyway because he's now infatuated with the Clown Prince of Crime because of what he did to him? What if his mind is already warped and he has so much trauma from this experience that he becomes Red Hood anyway and you didn't have to kill him? That could totally be a thing. Or not. All I'm saying is the writers or the creative team, essentially you don't have to kill Jason Todd in order to give him the mantle that people are expecting him to take up when he's an adult. I don't think you have to kill him, and yet literally the 2 times that fans were given the opportunity to kill him, they did, and they almost were successful once again. And now a 3rd time's coming, and all I want are the stats. People are voting and interacting with this film. I just want like stats saying how many people voted for him to die, how many people voted for him to live, how many people voted for Batman to save him, and all of the other things, because I bet you, just because of the track record, y'all gonna try to kill him again. I don't understand the fascination of trying to kill Jason Todd, especially since everybody likes to say that they love him. He's such a rebellious character, and he's not a goody two-shoes like other people in the Batman family, and all of the stuff that I have heard over the years about the Jason Todd character. I think that's why I go back to, I don't know why people say, oh, you have to kill him for him to be Red Hood, because in 1988, 1989, you were gonna kill Robin, and you had no idea he was ever going to be the Red Hood, because that didn't happen until 2005. Don't tell me you guys like Jason Todd so much. Don't. Because I know there is somewhere that people are just so giddy about given the opportunity to kill off a major character. I honestly think it's, for a lot of fans, the fact that they have a voice and some type of authority in deciding their favorite media, their favorite comics, their favorite character. When fans are able to have some type of voice, any type of voice, in deciding how you enjoy your own media that you already are obsessed with and love and everything, like Batman for me. For a lot of people, that's something that's very cool. And it is. I am not taking that away, because I am very excited to own this movie and to do all of the choosing what happens and like doing different versions of it. I just wanted to talk about why DC doing this new interactive experience with the upcoming short film Batman Death in the Family is not only a good introduction into other interactive projects that DC and Warner Brothers could possibly do, not just with Batman content, but anything within the DC universe. But I just think for years to come, we're gonna keep killing Jason Todd's Robin. Like, there's gonna be a new generation of fans, maybe a few years from now, or another 10 years from now, or whatever. And we're gonna keep coming back to this iconic moment in DC Comics history where the fans were able to kill off a major character within the publication and be okay with killing not just a major character, but a young character. I think that trips me up. I think that's why I find all of this odd, but humorous at the same time, because grown people are so cool with killing off like a young teenage boy and practically the son of Batman. If you know why, please tell me. I'm very much so looking forward to Batman Death in the Family. I'm also looking forward to the other short animated features that will all come in the collection. Sergeant Rock, It Is Death, which is based off of Neil Gaiman's Sandman story. There's Adam Strange, there's The Phantom Stranger, and then there is Death in the Family. I'm just very excited for the film to come out, and I think that makes my 2020 even better, because I literally have been waiting for Death in the Family to be adapted, really adapted into an animated film. And I think it's very cool that they're taking such an iconic moment within DC Comics history and placing it into now, 30 years later, a film that audiences now can also enjoy and participate, and you can also be a part of DC Comics history. Thank you guys so much for watching this video discussing the teaser trailer and the new upcoming DC animated short film Batman Death in the Family. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a bat thumbs up. As always, all of my social media is linked in the description below, including Instagram at History of the Batman. So why don't you give it a follow and become a Gothamite? Check out the rest of my Batman videos on this channel, including my Comic-Con at Home panel with Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. And of course, please subscribe so you can become part of this Batman community. It would mean so much to me. Before I go, I just want to ask, if and when you are buying Batman Death in the Family, I need to know if you are going to kill Jason Todd or let him live, because honestly, just curious. Don't kill this boy again. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will have more History of the Batman very soon, right here on YouTube. Remember, Gothamites, all about peace, love, and Batman. Bye.